Hey, it's Sane Riot. I make builds in Elden Ring, do invasions with those builds, and then I show you the invasions. How about that? If you've been here for any length of time, you've probably pieced together that I love Final Fantasy Tactics. It's one of my favorite games. It's art. Okay? So I made Ramza. And my Ramza build uses Warcry and Barbaric Roar and all that stuff. I decided to make a more different Ramza with all of the holy incantations, as well as a few throw rocks incantations in the DLC. Basically, it was just giving me an excuse to play around with the Light of Mikola, as well as some other spells that I've never had a chance to play with. Here's a look at my talismans. You might be saying, why aren't you using the boost miracle talismans? And the reason is because on holy damage, those talismans don't do anything in PvP, as you can see here. They're worthless. If you want to increase if you want to increase sacred damage on spells, you need things that will physically alter your status sheet. Your numbers have to change. Things like the Sword of Light alters your character sheet. It increases your holy damage after you use that Ash of War. And yeah, this is this spell, you know, most of the time, like, do you guys remember Dark Souls 3 players? Do you guys remember Pillars of Light, how ass that spell was? And it's like, why is it bad? Why does this spell have to be bad? Elden Ring said, you know what, you're right. Why does it have to be bad? It shouldn't have to be. There you can see me switch to the Dryleaf Talisman, which should have buffed the damage of Mikola's multi-layered Rings of Light. And it didn't, because it doesn't alter your character sheet. It doesn't change your numbers. It works in PvE, just doesn't work in PvP. People say, is it a bug? Is it, you know, what is it? I don't know. It might be a bug that they just haven't fixed since Dark Souls 3. Because this same bug existed, if it is a bug, it existed in Dark Souls 3. And the Hornet Ring would not increase the damage of backstabs and riposts on dark damage. So, you know, is it a bug, or is it something that they know is not working and they don't want it to work? Why would they do that? Maybe sacred damage is good enough that they feel like this is sort of a way to nerf it without actually having to, like, you know, physically alter or nerf the, you know, the actual numbers. I don't know. I mean, it's obviously something that they have to know about, you would think, because they've fixed it on a couple of things. The two-handed talisman and the claw talisman both should not work, based off what I have told you, because they don't change your character sheet. And yet, they do. Those, I've been told it's because they have different values in PvP, which makes sense. So, like, the claw talisman is like, I'm just going to shoot some numbers out. Let's say it's 15% in PvE, but it's only 10% in PvP. Because they went through the trouble of making a differential there, the claw talisman now works. And the same thing with the two-handed talisman. Look at this combo. Throw stone, rings, wrath, GG. Incredible. Y'all know, I like, people used to yell at me back in the Dark Souls 3 video days. They'd say, make a faith build. And I was like, I hate faith builds. And they'd say, make one anyway. And I said, okay, I'll try. And I hated it. Every time I made a faith build, I hated it. And in Elden Ring, look at me now. Little Elden stars for you. That is a spell that gets a bad rap because bad co-opers use it badly. You're going to see a lot of videos with this build. You're going to see a lot of Elden stars. And you're going to see how to more effectively use Elden stars, if you pay attention. But, yeah. absolutely having a blast with this build. I love it. It's got combos. It's got it's just an absolute atomic bomb in the light of Mikola. The Sword of Light isn't bad. The fact that it gives me a buff is pretty nice. I've got Golden Vow on this build, which is strange. I never use buffs ever. But Golden Vow changes my stats, and that means that it increases my damage. You could also use the Howl of Shabriri, but you gotta pick Golden Vow and Howl of Shabriri, or Golden Vow and Sword of Light. I heavily considered going with Howl of Shabriri, because Ramza is all about screaming. It's like his #1 favorite thing to do. And I'm kind of talking myself back into putting Howl of Shabriri on the build, if I'm being honest, just by recording this commentary. But yeah, you have to pick, because the Howl of Shabriri and the Sword of Light, they don't go together. One will override the other. The Howl of Shabriri buff is better than the Sword of Light buff, but the Howl of Shabriri buff comes with the downside of you're going to take more damage. I'm also wearing the little circlet that Mikola gives you. But it doesn't give it to you, you take it. I think that it does actually buff, despite the fact it's not changing your character sheet, I think it does actually buff this spell in PvP. But it also gives you, like, some points in Faith, Int, and Arcane. So, kind of a no-brainer, and I've got to show off my bowl cut, you know? Like, I gotta have that bowl cut showed off, right? I am so proud of my Ramza fashion. It looks so good. Like, it's fantastic. But, yeah. If you've never played Final Fantasy Tactics, you can play it on your phone, okay? Like, it's for sale on your phone for probably like $5. There is obviously, it's like the worst kept secret in the world right now, that there is a Final Fantasy Tactics remaster being made. It cannot come soon enough. I will lose my mind. I will absolutely go crazy when it comes out. But yeah, I love Final Fantasy Tactics so much. It doesn't matter if you've never played any other Final Fantasy game. It doesn't matter. None of the stories are, you don't need any of that. But I would be doing a disservice if I didn't tell you to play Final Fantasy Tactics. It's like, you know, it's the best. Wrath from Afar. I figured that would be a spell we could try out on this build. It's okay. It doesn't do a lot of damage, but it knocks people down, and y'all know I love that. It's like a jar cannon, but you cast it. The multi-layered rings, if you hit somebody with those, they can do pretty good damage. On the other hand, if the ring is spinning and they just like walk into the ring, it doesn't do that much damage. But yeah, it's not a bad spell. The light Ash of War is pretty cool. You can find some fun ways to use it. Throw Stone, obviously. Garonk's Stone or whatever, the big one, the big rock. That true combos into Wrath of Gold if you have max cast speed, which we do, thanks to Radigan's icon. And once you knock somebody down, being able to cast Light of, or, you know, Mikola's Light or whatever, being able to cast that, it's Ultima. It's holy, you know. Let's call it what it is. Being able to cast Holy on an opponent who is laid out is like just it's a trap. It's a death sentence, and I love it. It's, if I land a backstab on somebody, it's like free, you know. And it's one of those spells that it starts casting as soon as you press the button. Doesn't matter if you get interrupted. Doesn't matter if you get knocked out of it. It still casts, which makes it pretty great. You can get hit while casting it, and then it basically just cancels your casting animation. So then you can just cast it again, you know. And now you've got 2 of them, and good luck surviving that, which is kind of what you saw in the first clip of this video if you want to go back and rewatch the video. Why wouldn't you, by the way? Why wouldn't you want to go back and rewatch this absolute gem of a video right here, you know? It's fantastic. But yeah, you can go back and you can see how that works. This guy also has it, which is fun. It works basically just like Mikola's version of the spell. I think you can roll it, but it's just not something that's easy to do, especially in the heat of the moment. If possible, you're better off just like leaving, just running out of it, just like in, you know, the fight. But yeah, we've also got Bestial Sling on the build, which is very nice, for like just a very nice mix-up for when you're chasing somebody and they keep rolling your attacks. You know, throw out Bestial Sling and now they have something else they have to worry about. Look at this. Good luck. Have fun. GG's. Bye. And then the follow-up lasers, like that's not enough? Goodness. Come on. Come the hell on. I love it. I love this spell. I love this build. I have a bunch of videos coming. Well, I have a bunch of clips that I will turn into some videos, probably 1 or 2, that talk about this build, and you'll be able to see it in action. These are the numbers that I went with. Again, I went to level 168 or 169, whatever it was. This is basically just my attempt to get out of the fog wall factory that is level 125 to 150. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. Till then, later, y'all.